Okay, thanks, Derek. Thanks again for everybody for coming out and spending your summer with us. Like Derek said, my name's Calvin Check. I previously worked for the coaches site before leaving to go coach hockey in Manitoba. I used to sit up at the back and just take notes, and it was great. It was nice and relaxing. And then Gardner McDougall started doing presentations, and I got carpal tunnel, so I had to quit and go coach junior hockey in Manitoba. So that was my reward. So we're here to talk about technology, specifically Huddle, Instat. I'd assume most people are using something similar these days. So we thought it'd be fun to start by just talking about how far video has come since we all played hockey. I mean, I remember a coach shoving the VHS in the thing, and it's like blurry, and I'm watching him like, I look pretty good. This is great. And he's like, that's not you. You're on the bench back here. So we've come a long way. So yeah, just to get the party started, Chad, we'll start with you. What did video look like the last time you were playing for real?
Yeah, so I played hockey here at Michigan from 04 to 08, and we had a great coach, Red Berenson. Again, everything was VHS or burned onto a CD. I remember team meetings for video, but in 4 years, I do not remember doing an individual meeting, and that's unheard of today. I mean, we don't go by 3 or 4 days without doing individual meetings and grabbing kids and showing more video to them. And, as a player, I can't believe we went through an entire career of not doing it. So I think we're blessed now. The kids should be very grateful for it. And, I played at a great university with almost no instruction in terms of video-wise, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Okay, and Jeff, you just retired 2-3 years ago, I think. So, I mean, it's not a huge, no. What did it look like for you?
Yeah, I think I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum there. We had VHS, and I have a lot of tapes back at my parents' house.
So you saved them all?
Yeah, we saved them.
Yeah. And do you ever go back and watch them?
Yeah, sometimes.
What's that?
When I'm not at the rink.
Yeah. What's that pain like? Or, I mean, maybe
Well,
it's
I'm worried
great.
about them degrading. I think we need to digitize those guys real soon.
Okay, Jesse?
Yeah, for me, a little bit younger than these guys, not too much, but I didn't play the level that they would have, but for me, the videos come a long way. I would agree with how it's presented is number one. 5, 10, 15 years ago, I want to put this player on the board, and there's the big pizza turnover, show it over again, somewhat embarrass the kids a little bit. Can't do that anymore, right? The generations have changed, and different things like that have definitely shifted. So understanding the individual teaching, I think yesterday they talked about the positive 3-to-1, things like that it's definitely a lot different. And then stats-wise, plus minus, shots on goal, those were the stats. Now there's index, and Corsi, and shots above expected, and saves above expected. So things like that are never even heard of a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, and I'd assume everyone's probably got the same horror story. And I think back in the day, it was just as soon as you saw yourself in the video, it was like, this is going to be, I need to go back to bed kind of thing. It was only just catching, bad things and what you were doing wrong. And these days, I would hope most of us are catching kids in what they're doing properly or doing right. Okay, so let's dig into it. So Chad, you're a forward by trade, played forward your entire life. Okay, so then you get to the U.S. National Development Program, and did you get that job? Did they know you were a forward and put you in charge of the D, or did they just think you were that smart?
Well, for the coaches out there that have ever coached me, they know I never saw the defensive zone, so it was a little bit of a learning curve. But no, I came in as the forward coach. We had a little bit of a reshuffle in terms of who came in for the other assistant coach. So I took on the role as D coach, working with the D every day, individual meetings. I think as a coach, we're all here, right, to grow and to learn. And for me to take the D coach on, I think it was a learning experience for sure, and it was a growing experience because you grab your laptop, you type in Instat, and you type in Bestie, and whether it's Moritz Seider or Quinn Hughes, and you just start to watch. And that's what I did. I watched and kept watching, took notes, see what kind of habits they had, what they did stick detail, what their footwork was like, and that's how I learned. Not that I taught myself, you call other people, but you just watch and you learn patterns, and it's been an eye-opener for me, and I want to be a head coach one day, so you got to learn both sides of the puck and both sides of the forward and D group and PK and power play. So I think, again, it's just a learning curve. and growing as a coach, and it's been great.
And I think Scott Wheeler was saying before, or he was saying in an interview up here that I was eavesdropping on, about how he tries not to put players in a bucket, when they're scouting, and compare them to players in the NHL, which I do all the time. But with Huddle and Instat, you can find randos. Like, I thought Gustav Forsling was a random 2 months ago, and he's not anymore. But I wrote something with just showing his stick position, all the little things they do, so you can find, it's, if you're going into video and showing, hey, this is what Connor McDavid does, you're probably wasting your time, so. Okay, so Jeff, over to you. You run the Snow Kings in Seattle. You're responsible for 25 teams?
Yeah, around 25.
25 teams. So and how long have you been doing it?
So this past season was our first year using
Right, so it's
Huddle.
brand new, it's growing.
Yes.
So what's it been like getting your coaches set up with this kind of software and these kind of tools? What's that learning process been like?
So I think it's helpful to understand what we were doing prior to this. So we had a bunch of very dedicated volunteer coaches who would, look at the video that we did have online, which would, it's a camera that's mounted at the facility, and it sort of works, but it's very slow. Okay, so not a lot of people have 2 to 3 hours, a week to go and do that. So when I learned about Huddle, we brought it in and I showed the coaches and said, basically what you can do is you can break down your game very quickly and look at whatever you would like to see. And as soon as I said that, pretty much everybody was on board.
So Jesse, same sort of thing as you with Calgary North Stars. We were talking the other day just about the standard that you set. It's expected that everybody, when I say everybody, your coaches are following through and they're delivering this to their players. But you told me a bit of a funny story. I mean, parents are included in this as well. We're all recruiting. There's, in your neighborhood, there might be 4 different U18 teams or whatever. So we're all recruiting. We want to be the best program, and you have to recruit the parents as well. So do you have any good stories about them looking over your shoulder and asking about ice time?
Hockey parent stories? No, none of those. Absolutely not. No, there's obviously a ton. There's expectations, though. You want to be the best. You want to have the best resources. And I feel we got the best coaches. So I think that there's a standard, and the standard is the standard. I think we heard that yesterday as well. So I think we have to live up to that. And if we don't, then if I'm a parent, I'm going to be knocking on the door and asking what's going on. My job, protect the coach from some of that parent stuff, but also if I look at the Instat time on ice, you get that right after the game or 12 hours after or whatever, and I do see little Johnny played 3 minutes. There's an easy phone call to go, hey, what's going on here? Yeah. So I can have the conversation with the coach before the parent comes to me, but now there's also the sexy stats where the index, the Corsi, and it's, hey, little Johnny's index is higher than little Billy, why isn't he on the power play? So those conversations happen now. So it's definitely, those conversations evolve, and you just have to understand the resources that you have and utilize them, make sure your coaches do, because they're there for a reason.
So the funny thing about that is there's professional hockey coaches. I coached at the University of British Columbia for 4 years, and we had these stats nerds that came in and they did analytics for us, and they would come in and they would deliver like a presentation, or looking at them like, what the fuck are you talking about, right? But you're saying you have parents who understand what Corsi and expected goals is. I
didn't say that. I said that they see the number and it's higher than, so they think they understand, and they're going to use that as their leverage, because we send our shifts out to the players after their games, so they get it at all levels, and parents see that. Whether the kids watch it or not is up to them, but they see all the numbers and stuff, so they try to understand it, and typically with the index, if it's a higher number, you have a bigger impact on the game, so that's all they really see, right? But they don't understand the why. The kid could have scored a goal, and that bumps up your numbers stuff, right?
Big number, good. Low number, bad. That's like golf. That's the opposite. Okay, I wanted to ask about, this isn't on my list, but I just thought about this, and we'll go through each guy. How often do you have, Chad, this probably really relates to you. How often do you have just individual guys, like do they just come in your office and say, hey, I want to watch video, or is it something you have arranged ahead of time? Last year I had, like every guy, you have to come in the office twice a week. And then some guys would come in 9 times, like, this is a lot more than twice, you're good, that kind of stuff. So do you get harassed or bombarded? Those are negative words, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I think the guys that are really dedicated, and again, it's the U.S. national program, so most are, but others are on another tier. So there's guys that are in your office almost every day. Hey, can I see this? Can we watch a little bit of practice? Can I see my shifts from the PK? And that's awesome. I love it. I want to see it. I got a text this morning from one of the guys, say, hey, can I get PK from Gustav Forsling and his D-zone kills? And again, we can push that out to him ASAP, and we'll get on a Zoom later on next week, and we'll watch. We'll go through it. So these are very common things with our group because they love the game. And again, we talked about hockey IQ and hockey smarts. This is how you build it. You learn through video and working through the video yourself as a player, and then we can go through it as a coaches later.
And then Jeff and Jesse, I mean, the same basic thing, but you're coaching the coaches. So are they coming in? Like, do you meet with them and talk about it? And, you know, one of my favorite things to do, again, when I was at UBC, because we had so much time on our hands, was just, like, we'd sit there for 6 hours and watch video. A lot of it was because the guy I worked with didn't know how to work a laptop, but, you know, we still got through it and learned a ton. So are you looking at stuff with other coaches, or is it players as well?
I mean, we are looking at it as a coaching staff.
Yeah.
We do that, not to the same level as what these guys are doing here, of course. But, you know, for us, it's mainly about utilizing our time more efficiently. So we're taking time where we're not spending it on the ice, and we're coaching these kids on some fundamentals that, you know, at the 12U level, 14U level, they really need. We're really short on ice, so when we're on the ice, we prioritize what we're doing out there. And it's not chalk talk, it's not, you know, skill stuff. It's mainly flow and learning the game. So anything that's outside of that, we'll take it offline. And video, I think, is one of the best ways for these kids to visualize what they're doing right and doing wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, our guys, a lot of them have a video background before they come to us, so we're kind of lucky to steal and use that info, and then they're really good at sharing. That's kind of one of my number one goals. If you want to be a North Star coach, you're helping everybody else around you. So we a big sharing mentality, and we kind of have tech packs that we share on, and they're all on, you know, Google Drive and different things that we do. So for us, there's a lot there, but guys, they're with us for a reason, because they want to get better and want guys to get better. We want to graduate coaches too, so we're trying to support them as much as possible.
Yeah. Another one that's not on my list, I just thought of scouting, right? We talked about scouting a week ago, just when we were meeting or whatever. I mean, you can go online, and I built an expansion team just by watching grainy video from, you know, some, you know, exotic locations. So how much time do you spend scouting, and, you know, what's your process with that?
Yeah, so we have two dedicated scouts or player personnel people that watch all year long. But if there's guys that can't come to the 40-man camp, you know, we just had the 08 group. But my group before, the 07s, I was involved a little bit. There was two players, Donato Bracco and then Richard Gallant, who couldn't make the 40-man camp. They were injured, so they asked myself and Dan Muse, the head coach, hey, can you go on there on Instat and watch? Can you watch them? Tell me what you think. Take notes, because ultimately you guys are the ones coaching them, and we can tell you who to pick, but you need to see it for yourself. So we got on there, and we, you know, looked up the Long Island goals and watched Donato Bracco as much as we could, and you know, those feeds that you get. But you know, they both ended up making the team off it, and they're both superstar players. So again, that's a great example there.
I have a really bad habit. You know, I can't even count how many, you know, hours of video, and did a million different Zoom calls. And you'd watch video of one kid, and again, it's grainy and it's brutal. And that's not the camera's, like, well, that is the camera's fault. It's not the program's fault. And then you watch the next guy, and the video is just incredible. So I learned a lot more about myself as a coach and a scout, you know, just to get past that. You know, the quality is not all going to be the same if half the lights in the rink aren't turned on, that type of stuff. What about you guys? How much scouting? I mean, you must look into some players. You're recruiting families again as well, but, you know, how much are you watching before they get to the program?
For us, there's only a little bit of that, because you have to live in our region to play for us, but it's more after us. How do we get our player to the next level? How do we get them to
Right.
the AJ or an SJ team or the Western League? Or if there's a player that left for an academy, do we want him back? We can watch their stuff there. So all those clips are on there, and it's important for us to advance our kids. So that's kind of how I spend a lot of my Monday, Tuesday after a game, after the first chunk of the season. It's sending off these clips. Hey, watch so-and-so's game this, and you can, again, send shifts, and they can watch them 5 times with their Insta login stuff. So it's it's helpful for us to advance players because that's what parents want.
You don't have to pay for winter jackets for the scouts either to go to the rink. Okay, let's dig into some stories about individual players. So this is one I've been thinking about this was 5 years ago. I started coaching junior hockey in Manitoba. And this kid comes into the office right at the start of training camp. And I'd been with, 25-year-old men previous to this at UBC. Kid comes in, he's bubbly, he's jumping up and down like he's made of like elastic, and he's just so excited and so happy. And, hey, coach, just wondering, like, why I'm not on the first power play? I said, oh, awesome, I'm glad you asked. Here's the evidence. And you show him bobbling the puck, and he can never handle a puck. Another kid comes in, looks like Edward Scissorhands, hates hockey, hates video, hates me for sure. And he's wondering, why am I not on the first power play? To show him that, but his problem is he's late to everything. It's like, it's right here. This is what back checking is, and he never learned that before. So kid number one, happy guy, by the trade deadline, he's gone, like he's to the moon or something. I don't even I don't know where we sent him. And Edward Scissorhands is the captain, unanimous vote for MVP of the team. He plays U Sports in York now. So, and just showing them themselves. So just turning that mirror on themselves, and oh yeah, that's not good. And then it's up to them how they react to it. So, give me a personal story or a specific story. I'm sure everyone's brains are working the same way right now. Like, I know that kid. So Chad, let's start with you. One of those stories.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back a little bit. When I was a player, I was that kid that thought I should be whatever, and I deserve this. And I never had coaches that really cared about the players. And I had one. He's in the stand somewhere in here watching Matt McIlvain, my last year pro. I'm 33 years old. And he's the first coach that truly cared about me as a player and cared about my family and asked about, my wife and my kid. And when he went to show me these clips, so you're saying, Edward Scissorhand bobbling the puck, and this is why you're not getting more ice time. I'm like, you know what, Matt, you're right. Like, I respected him as a person. And then as a coach, it was so much easier for him to get the message across. So my story goes back to now with the players, I'm just trying to get to know them, trying to connect to them early from day one so that these conversations, when they come up, it's not even a tough conversation. It's just me being friendly with them and me being person to person and just saying, hey, this is why. And I love you still, but we're going to work through it together. And that's where I'm at. Just all about the personal connections and being there for him as a person. And then when the tough conversations need to happen, it's not tough at all.
It's like it's a contract, right? I care about you, and you're not doing your job if you don't show them what they could be doing better, right, Jeff?
Yeah, kind of similar for us too. On occasion, we'll have parents who are all wound up and feel like their kids being neglected out there or whatnot, and then we can go and pull up the data and show. But I think a lot of kids, they think that they're doing the right thing while they're playing, but it's not until they look at it from a different angle that they really see that they're absolutely not back checking at all the entire game. Like, those are the things that really help us highlight those deficiencies in a way that's not, like hammering the kid.
Video don't lie, right, Jesse?
Yeah, I can flip it to almost coach development too. So I don't know how many video their practices or watch their own practices and stuff. So we did that during COVID, actually. There wasn't a lot of face-to-face and stuff. So trying to help a few coaches, and you get, again, parent complaints and whatnot. So you video practice, and you can go through and say the interaction level, how long are these drills, just different things that you don't really think of, but you can use video to teach a lot. And then I think part of that too with the players is the connection of practice to game. I think we talked about it with our Finnish friend there, with the connection, the know and understanding. A lot of them don't know why they're doing the drill and how it actually connects right to the game. So to show a clip of the player in practice doing a drill we're working on a net drive, and then the player doing it in a game or not doing it correctly. You see how we did it here versus here, and then you can type in whichever player you want an Instat, and now you can go, this is how this player does it. And I think they can help understand that a lot more. 'Cause that's the biggest thing I see as the miss is they can watch it, but they don't know how to put it into a game.
Yeah. Okay, Jesse, we're going to go back to you here. One thing that I have been just thinking about and researching the last couple months is just the fact that what you say is not necessarily what they hear. right? What's happening to you in your ears is different from your perception. So when you have that in mind, you usually can't blame the player, right? Or if you guys are in charge of coaches, or I'm in charge of putting presentations together and courses and whatnot on the website, well, if someone makes a mistake, it starts with you, right? And then you give it to them, right? And they help you fix it, right? And you're on the same side. So in that vein, talk about your coaches, Jesse, and maybe just their ratio of positive clips to negative ones. Because again, you just sit and watch the game and you relax on 7 a.m. in the morning, you played the night before. It's easier to just, oh, this is good, this is good, this is good, and just not cut anything. You really want to find a bunch of bad stuff. So yeah, what's that ratio like?
Yeah, I think every coach is different. They say the 3 positives to 1. I think it's more of how you communicate that to the player. Are you being sarcastic? Are you running them down a little bit? How do you get through to them so they're not just yesterday with the goalie, Jeff, talking about confidence. He has best years and he was confident. If you're going to leave the coach's room with your head down all the time, you're not going to be confident. You're not going to have your best years. So how do you build the player up versus kind of break them down? And video is huge, because just talking to some of the junior guys here, they're on the ice for an hour, 45 minutes maybe, on the bench for 2 hours. They're cutting video for 8. So that's what they're doing for most of their time. So for them to get all those clips up, how are you going to separate positive, negative? But the teaching is the most important thing. How do you connect it to the game? But you hope they're positive. Hard coaching does still exist, and that's still a thing. But like we're saying over here, if you don't have that relationship, you can't be hard on them, because they're not going to listen to a word that you say.
Well, and I think that hard coaching, it counts as hard coaching when you bring Edward Scissorhands in and say, hey, look, you can play Division I hockey, or you can play university hockey in Canada, but you need to fix this. And look him in the eyes, and this one specific kid's 6'3", 210 pounds, and he's a monster, and I'm not very imposing whatsoever. And I've lost jobs because I don't yell, scream, and bag skate the shit out of the players, because nobody sees all that stuff behind the scenes, right? Capturing the video and really working with them. And then again, I'm sure you guys all have examples of that, of when you've worked with someone and had difficult meetings, and then, like we said at the start, it's up to them, how they react to it. So, okay, let's talk about systems. All right, you're with the same kids for how many seasons at a time on average?
2.
2 seasons. So they learn everything kind of at the start. Things are still always in motion. You're always trying to adapt, like we were talking about. But do you ever find yourself standing on the bench watching a kid after 2 seasons like, how has this guy not figured this out yet? Or maybe more positive, like, wow, he really has figured this out. But probably more the first one.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on the positive side.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we have a big lefty defenseman. He's 6'5". He's an unbelievable skater forwards, but backwards he has a tendency to just give up the line, keep giving up the line. So we're talking about gapping down, build your gap, forward skate, all season long, and there's like 5 games left, and I'm sitting on the bench. I'm like, this is never going to happen. He's just going to keep getting caved in. But something clicked in his mind, and we must have watched Keandre Miller. We watched Owen Power go through it. And these guys are great players of gapping down and killing plays in the O-zone instead of backing out. And he just kept doing it from 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 games to 1 game left. He did it perfectly. And I'm sitting on the bench. I'm like, man, I'm so proud of this kid. It's like a proud dad moment. You start to tear up a little bit. You're like, man, this is all worth it. This is why you coach, right? For these kids to finally get it, something clicks in their mind. And yeah, I'm going to stick to the positive part, because it's awesome seeing that when the kids just learn it and they put it into place and they have success doing it. It's awesome.
The smallest stuff, right? Jeff, what about you?
In the past, we've used video. We would take clips of, here's the right way to do it, right? It could be, YouTube or whatever. And then after that, pull up the video of what they're doing. And so when they see the 2 differences right there in front of them, it seems to click a little bit better with them. So we've done that. I think the one thing that was really kind of interesting, and I didn't expect it, was the platform, and when we're coming together as a team online, it kind of brought the kids together a little bit more, So it was, even though it was virtual, we did all of our video sessions virtual. The kids would have another hour to go and be together, and then usually at the end they would schedule time to do Fortnite or whatever. So it was kind of a nice added bonus that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, Jesse, any horror stories from those meetings?
Not so much horror stories, but I think just the thing that you notice is missing a lot is that situational awareness. And I feel it's a big part of it is that call it TikTok generation. They're watching highlights and 10-second stuff, and they're not understanding the habits or the little things that go into the game. So for them to watch video, they don't watch hockey. They don't watch a full game. So for them to watch video, you really have to not forget about the little habits, because they're just looking for those sexy plays and just different things that they really want to do versus what they need to do to get better. And they always want to go back to that. So some of our coaches put that back on the player, have them own their development and say, okay, we're going to meet every 2 weeks individually. This time the player bring 3 positive clips of we have the puck, we don't have the puck, no one has the puck, and then 3 negative to see what they actually see in the game, because they don't know what they're looking for a lot of times.
Well, and like you said, the highlights, like they see my new buddy Peter Boanicki's presentation this morning, and McDavid and McKinnon rifling through everybody. That's great. Meanwhile, Mitch Love's presentation yesterday with one guy stick on puck, like the smallest play, I'm in the back jumping up and down, like, oh, I'm stealing that, you know what I mean? Okay, we only got a couple minutes left. I just want to, sometimes there's a barrier with technology and stuff like this. I can barely read, and I can still use this technology. Can you guys just, like, for 30 seconds, just talk about what it's like to use Huddle and Instat? I mean, 80% of the NHL uses it, or 90%, I think. Every NCAA Division I program uses it. Every junior A hockey team in Canada uses it. It's not tough. We can do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I retired, went right into coaching, and we had it. You just, again, you're typing in players, or you can type in specific situations. I think I went through like LA Kings power play breakouts. There was like 300 of them, one time in Waterloo, and we're down 2-1 in a playoff series. I'm trying to learn something new the night before a game. So I mean, these are easy ways to gain knowledge and to find more video for yourself as coaches, but also show the players so that they can learn.
So at Snow King, we use the assist platform, which is not what these guys used. So for us, the biggest thing was just the time saving, being able to quickly go and look at goals for, goals against, face-offs, because those are the main things that we're focusing on. So it's really just a resource thing for us. We've got most of our coaches are volunteers. We've got a couple that are very, very dedicated and spend hours and hours looking through video, and so we're trying to give these guys better tools and just make their jobs easier, and then being able to connect the kids. I think it's the social part of it is a really big thing especially for this generation. So getting them engaged, being able to pull their own clips and save them and all that is a big deal.
Yeah. Jesse?
Yeah, I echo all that stuff. It's super easy, but for me, when I started coaching, I did a lot of the video stuff, and it was Steva, and you're coding stuff, and you're not doing it. Now, it's there for you. You wake up in the morning, and it's there. Obviously, you can still do that extra level, but for minor hockey coaches, which I assume most of us are, you have real jobs, and you don't need to be sitting by a computer for 3 or 4 hours going through clips and having it there. So it's done for you. The analytics, that's the future. That's where the real hockey jobs are starting to open up. Every coach every team has a couple of those. Every team has a couple video coaches now. So those opportunities are there, and learn it at this level. So, and then, time on ice. That stuff's important for the minor hockey levels to understand. Video your practices, go through all the skill stuff, the habits. And kids just learn through video, or a lot of them do now. So if you're not using it, you're just kind of doing your players a disservice. And I think for us, we're here getting better, and that's one thing that if you're not doing or looking at or exploring, you probably should.
And so I don't have to ask the last question because you already answered it. Again, I think everybody understands. I mean, we want to win hockey games. We want to get better. We want to improve our careers, get to the next level. And, there's a lot of work behind the scenes to be able to do that. But it's about the players, and the experience that you can deliver with, for the players through technology and through things like this. It's still your personality, your connection to them that truly matters. But I mean, coaching and using video is part of my identity because you can turn a mirror back on the players, and that's the whole point. That's why we're all here. So again, thanks to Huddle for organizing and putting this on. Thanks to you guys for putting up with me for the last couple weeks, and thanks to you guys for being here. Appreciate it. I might have a question. One question?
We got one question. I'll just get one of you to answer. This is from Liz. What's the best approach to teaching athletes how to view film critically?
Which one of us you want to view
Whoever.
film critically? I think for me, it's just to embrace the good and the bad and just get them to narrate, right? Like, this is what, what do you see? What did you see in this situation? When you tripped over the blue line skating backwards and you gave the puck to Trevor Connolly in overtime against the Americans in Truro in 2024 Nova Scotia, what on planet Earth were you thinking? And get them to walk you through it. That's what I think.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.